What's up, everybody? Lonnie here from Average GameBoys, and today I am here with a brand new segment, Average Reviews. Cue the theme song. What? Oh, we don't have a theme song. All right. For our first review, we're starting off with something really big, not so average if you know what I mean. Star Wars The Last Jedi. Now, before I get started reviewing Star Wars The Last Jedi, you need to know this is a warning. This is spoiler heavy. So if you have not seen the movie, you need to turn this video off right now. Get up out your seat, get in your car, drive to your nearest movie theater, and watch the damn movie. It is good. You need to see it this weekend. That is one thing I will say. Now, as you can tell by the posters behind me, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and this movie is something I've been waiting for since The Force Awakens came out, and since they announced that they were doing a brand new trilogy years back. Now, when it comes to The Last Jedi, I wasn't as excited for this movie as I was for, say, Star Wars The Force Awakens. Did this movie live up to the hype? Was it as good as The Force Awakens was? Was it as good as Empire Strikes Back? That's what I was hoping for. Second movie in the trilogy has to come hard. Did The Last Jedi live up to the hype? Was it everything we wanted? Was it what we waited for? Maybe. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Without further ado, let's get into the review. Now, I want to start out with the bad stuff. The good will come later. We'll end it on a good note. Definitely, for me at least, there was a lot more cons to this movie than there was pros. Not saying it wasn't a great movie. Not saying it didn't live up to the expectations, but there were a couple things that caught me off guard that I kind of disagreed with a little bit. Just remember, this is my opinion. This has nothing to do with the other members of the Average GameBoys. And if you disagree with it, let me know in the comment section. If there's anything I forgot that I should have said, definitely let me know in the comment section. But I want to kick it off. The very last scene of the movie with the kid. The kid that, I don't even know what the creatures were, but they were basically like racehorses. The kid who walked outside, used the Force to grab a broom, and then he had Rose's, basically it was a watch that had the rebel symbol on it. And I just didn't think that was necessary at all. To me, like, it was really cool to see that, like, other people still are using the Force. Anyone can have the Force. It's just random. We get that. I understand it. But I felt like we just needed it's Star Wars. This is the new trilogy, still based around the Skywalker family. The Jedi are supposed to be dead. That scene to me, it didn't make any sense. The scene would have been perfect if he didn't use the Force. If he just looked at the Rebel watch, looked into the sky, and it was a symbol of hope, that the rebellion is not dead, that the rebellion has basically just gotten stronger because of what happened in that last fight scene. That would have been marvelous to me. It would have been awesome. But they threw in the kid using the Force, and I just thought it was a little unnecessary. Just a little bitty unnecessary, you know? One thing that happened very early in the movie, most of us weren't sure how they were going to handle the death of Carrie Fisher. And after watching the movie, it kind of seemed like it was kind of obvious that she finished all her scenes before she passed away. May she rest in peace. But there was a moment in the movie where we all thought she died. We all thought Princess Leia's, the character, had passed away in the movie. Her ship had just gotten blown up. She's flying through space. And then all of a sudden, about 20 seconds in to her flying through space, she starts to move. And, I mean, obviously she's using the Force to pull herself back to the ship. But it was just something that hadn't been hinted at in any of the movies, that she was that strong with the Force. It's nice to see that she can use it, and especially in a time of desperation. It was also a very unnecessary thing, and even worse about it is that 90% of the audience in the theater, including myself, thought that was how they were handling Carrie Fisher's death, and that Princess Leia was gone after that scene. And then you see her start to magically float back to the ship, and it was just kind of weird. Like, it took me out of it for a second, and it was definitely not what I expected to happen. Even, like, the girls that were sitting next to me started to clap their hands as if they had done it justice. And this is before she had floated back to the ship. They had started to clap their hands, and I even saw one of them wipe a tear away from their eye. and then she floated back to the ship. So it kind of made the audience feel like, oh, Leia's still alive, maybe. Which, after you see the movie, of course she was. But it was a very weird moment and something that we hadn't seen before, which was, it was cool that they're taking a chance with it, but it wasn't very Star Wars to me. And I'm going off of the episodes 1 through 8, none of like the novels, the comic books, anything like that. But just going off of episodes 1 through 8, it was just a very weird moment, and it kind of took me out of it. And I was like, that was really weird, really, really weird. Another little spoiler that it caught me and everybody else off guard was when Kylo Ren killed Snoke. That, I didn't know what the hell was going on with that. That was very weird, because in that moment you think that Kylo Ren is going to be a good guy with Rey, and then he kills Snoke. Half of the audience I was watching the movie with started clapping, and they were like, yeah, finally, yeah, clapping, clapping, clapping. And then 2 seconds later, Kylo Ren's even more evil than he was. And it was like, fuck you, audience. Try to bleep that out. If I don't, oh well. But it was like a fuck you to the audience. Like, hey, this weird character development thing's happening, and we want you to think he's becoming good, and then he's not. He's even more evil than he was. And like I said, it was kind of just like a middle finger to the audience, like, hey, we're gonna try to keep you guessing, but in this really awkward way. It was a really cool surprise, I will give him that. It was an amazing surprise. I didn't think Snoke was gonna go out like that. But this also leads me into Snoke's character. He was also very unnecessary. I'm telling you, most of these cons I have are things that should have just been left out of the movie, or things that they added in or they thought were necessary to the storyline, but they just could have been handled better, I guess. But Snoke's character in general, from The Force Awakens, to us, he's the Emperor. He's the new Emperor. He is Darth Sidious, and Kylo Ren is basically the new Darth Vader. And then The Last Jedi is just like, no, sorry. Snoke actually didn't really matter. He did all this cool stuff. He connected Rey and Kylo Ren together so they could talk with the Force and everything, which was really cool, especially in that moment when he's explaining everything that's happening. And then it was just like, Snoke's dead. And it was funny because like 20 seconds before Snoke died, I turned to Nick and I go, hey bro, we might actually find out Snoke's backstory and everything right now, which would be really cool because like we don't know who the hell he is. And then he died, and his character will never be explained again unless it's in like a book or anything like that. But you will never know who he is. You will never know what he did, why he was doing it. And it's kind of like, it's irritating, it's annoying, because that was something that they could have easily have provided you with. And I don't see them doing it in the next movie, because that next movie that's it. It's the last of the trilogy. They already said once they do the new trilogy after this, it's going to be brand new, separate from the Skywalker saga and everything. So we're not going to get it in the next movie, because we might get like a little hint of like, this is what Snoke did to like capture my mind and all that. But other than that, we're not going to get it, because his character just doesn't matter anymore. The next movies, it should be all about Rey, Finn, and Poe trying to stop Kylo Ren. And hopefully we get a lightsaber duel, which we did not get in this movie. Surprisingly, a lot of people, about everybody who went into that movie, thought we were going to get a lightsaber battle, and we didn't. It never happened, and it kind of annoyed me really bad. Like, it struck a nerve. We came really close. We came very, very close many times. The big one, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, if at any point lightsabers hit, then please tell me. The only thing I can recall is when Luke Skywalker was trying to kill Kylo Ren when he was younger, in that little flashback. But other than that, Rey never hit anybody with her lightsaber. And by hit anybody, I mean she never fought Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker went at it, but Kylo Ren never touched Luke Skywalker. Plus, Luke Skywalker was a hologram at the time, basically. So we thought we were going to get a good lightsaber duel, and we didn't. And once again, It's Star Wars. Like, that's what you show up for, is the lightsaber battle. Every movie has had a lightsaber battle. Even Attack of the Clones. The Yoda versus Dooku scene was amazing. And I thought Luke, at the very end of this movie, I thought Luke and Kylo were going to go at it. And it was a cool way that Luke was using the Force to, like, appear there. It was really cool. I get it. But it would have been amazing if Luke would have showed up like a total G and handled Kylo Ren. I was kind of hoping Luke would go out like Obi-Wan. I think he even did say it in the movie that if you strike me down, I'll become stronger than you ever know. He said something about if you strike me down in anger or something like that. But it would have been amazing. It would have been a good tribute to Obi-Wan. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So that's something I have against the movie. And I am praying that we get a lightsaber battle, and we're due for a lightsaber battle, a very good one. We're due for one that's almost as long as the lightsaber battle in The Phantom Menace with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul. We're due for it. We deserve it. The fans deserve it. One thing that also, in the first 2 minutes that the movie had started, after the scroll, the crawl, whatever you want to call it, there was a little bit of forced humor in the movie. In the original Star Wars, if you ever laughed at the moments in the original Star Wars saga, even in episode 1, 2, and 3, besides Jar Jar Binks, of course, there wasn't really any forced humor. It flowed naturally. If it was funny, it was funny. If it wasn't, it wasn't. But it was just like a line they said, and the characters acted very naturally off of it. But in the first 2 minutes, when Poe flies in front of the dreadnought or whatever it was, and he wants to talk to Hux, and they're communicating, and Hux is like saying his big speech like, you will not defeat us, blah blah blah, and then Poe's just like, are you there, and then Hux goes on and on, and then Poe's like, I don't know if you're talking or not, but blah blah blah, and then the little background character says a witty line about it. It was very Guardians of the Galaxy to me. Don't beat me up for saying that, but that moment right there was very Marvel. It was very Disney. It tried to be a lot like when in A New Hope, when Han Solo is communicating with the general or the stormtrooper, whoever it was. Him and Luke are dressed as stormtroopers and they're rescuing Princess Leia, and the guy calls down and he's like, what's your number, blah blah blah, do you read me, what's going on down there? And then Han Solo's like, it's all good, we have it all handled, blah blah blah. And then he's like, how are you today? Like that, it was complete opposite of that. Like that was so natural, it catches you off guard. You're like, that's good. But then this movie was like, when that Poe and General Hux moment happened, it was just like, hey, we kind of need a laugh right here to start the movie off with a good tone. So insert this funny joke that people will definitely laugh at. And they did. And I also turned to Nick at the same time, and I was like, I don't like that, man. I really don't like that. So I hope in the next one, J.J. Abrams coming back, hopefully he gets rid of that a little bit. Because I don't want to watch a Marvel movie. If I want to watch a Marvel movie, I'll watch a Marvel movie. I'll wait for Infinity War to come out. But I don't want to feel like I'm watching Guardians of the Galaxy when I'm watching Star Wars. That's just not how I want it. One thing, we were speaking on the lightsaber battles. One battle that we were looking forward to, that the whole community has been looking forward to. Finn versus Captain Phasma. We were all looking for it. And then when it happened, like 45 minutes before the movie was over, we were gonna get it, and it started, and then it was over. It started so fast and it was over just as fast. And that scene in the commercial where they go and they're about to hit each other, you're like, yes, I need to watch that. It seemed like it was gonna be one of the biggest battles in the movie, in The Last Jedi, and it was about a minute long, if that, and it was like they hit each other twice, and then Phasma was dead. In The Force Awakens, she was used terribly, and they got rid of her so easily in the garbage compactor. In this one, you're like, she's finally going to be a badass. She's going to get her shot. This fight's going to be epic. And, like, it was for what it was. But it should have been longer. I don't even remember if Finn got hurt at all in that battle. I don't think he got hit. I really don't think he got hit. I think he might have stumbled and fell once, but he didn't get hit. She almost overpowered him, I think, at one point. But other than that, he got a good hit on her. Hit her in the face, cracked her helmet, and I thought they were going to keep going at it. Once he cracked her helmet open, I thought they were going to go at it. She's more vulnerable. He can actually, like, truly defeat her, basically kill her. But that didn't happen. It stayed kind of Disney, and she just ended up, I think she fell to her death. We don't know if it was a death, but I believe that's where they were going with it, because I don't see her coming back in the next movie. If she does, I really hope she doesn't. But if she does, I hope she gets a true fight scene and not 30 seconds of screen time. One thing that caught me off guard, the movie made me think a lot. Like, I liked it because I didn't know what was going to happen. But then also, as I start to think about that concept of not knowing what's going to happen, it was kind of like, maybe this movie's just all over the place. And I mean, in a way it was, in a way it wasn't, in a way it was a good thing, in a way it was a bad thing. This one was truly a middle movie, as they were just bridging between The Force Awakens and the final chapter that's coming out 2 years from now. But saying that, I feel like The Force Awakens did a great job to show Rey as the hero. She was the main character. Finn is her support character, and Poe is like an even lower support character. Kylo Ren's the bad guy with Snoke. The Last Jedi, Rey was so unbalanced with the dark and the light. She wasn't really the hero. Poe wanted so badly to be a hero, he forced himself not to be a hero. Finn was my favorite character in this movie. Even though I loved Rey in The Force Awakens, Finn was my favorite character in The Last Jedi, because to me, he was the hero. He was the hero in this movie, but there wasn't enough focus on it. It was more just him and Rose doing a mission. But like I said, he was the hero to me in this movie, especially when he was about to sacrifice himself at the very end of the movie and Rose stopped him, which I also didn't really like. I didn't really like that. I mean, I like that Finn's gonna live, but I would have liked to see him, like, that would have been like the ultimate sacrifice. He was gonna single-handedly try to stop the First Order, which, I mean, 10 minutes later you find out, like, good thing he didn't die, he didn't sacrifice himself, because it didn't matter. They all got away anyway, which is a great thing. But Rose she was definitely like the lowest support character in this. Kylo Ren, at some point in the beginning of the movie, you think he's gonna be the hero, and then he totally fucks you over and kills Snoke, turns on everybody, becomes basically the evil emperor. But Rey is the hero we want. That's the person we wanted to be the hero from The Force Awakens, and we figured she would be the hero all throughout this whole trilogy, and we don't know anymore. Luke said it himself. She didn't even resist the dark side. She went straight to it, which also I didn't like, because she was so pure. In The Force Awakens, she was so pure-hearted. It was why we wanted her to be the hero. It's why people fell in love with the character. And now it was cool to like see her tempted by the dark side, but that's what I wanted, was her to be tempted by the dark side, and not for her to just be like, oh, darkness, let me dive straight into that hole that leads to the dark side. The fact that she didn't even resist the dark side, to me, it kind of just was like, whoever wrote the story, it just let them kind of take the easy way out. Like, this movie's already 2.5 hours long. We can't have her fight the dark side. We'll just have her just fully go into it, and then she'll realize she doesn't need it, if that's what ends up happening. I hope it is. I hope she still is the hero throughout the trilogy. Luke Skywalker was basically the hero at the end, when he saved basically the rebellion, and now he's one with the Force. So he can't be the hero in the next movie. It has to be Rey, Poe, or Finn. My money is on Rey, because she is the big character right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Finn. I wouldn't be surprised. Speaking of the heroes, there is a love triangle going on now, a very unnecessary love triangle. You can say Finn and Rey was never a thing, but obviously Finn had feelings for Rey, And it kind of seemed like Rey might have had feelings for Finn. And now, 10 minutes before The Last Jedi's over, Rose kisses Finn, and then Rey and Finn are reacquainted. And Rey looks over to Finn, and he's comforting the unconscious body of Rose. She kind of like half smiles, she kind of doesn't, but you could tell like she's kind of looking over there like, okay, like he's with her, I guess. So now I can focus on what I'm about to do in this next movie. That's the only thing I can get from it. It was just a weird love triangle. It wasn't necessary. Like a lot of things I said I was going to say in this review, it wasn't necessary. They did do a really good job with this movie, though. I will congratulate them on that. One last con that I do have for this movie, I could pick it apart, but I've only seen it once, and I wanted to get this review out there. Rey's parents. Rey's parents. It kind of left me speechless when I was watching the movie. I liked the way that they revealed it in this movie, in The Last Jedi, but I didn't like the fact that they're just nobodies. The Force Awakens, everybody, not just me, not just my friends, everybody, they would think about and come up with fan theories of who could be Rey's parents, and then just to find out 2 years later that they were a drunk and a gambler or whatever, and they were nobodies, they were worthless. They gave up Rey for money so that they could have food or whatever, or just so they could buy basically drugs and alcohol. That's basically what it was. And to find out that they were truly nobodies that don't matter, and that she kind of knew that the whole time, it was really bad for Rey's character development, because this whole thing was about her trying to find her parents. For her to just basically realize, like, I kind of knew the whole time that they were nobodies and that I already knew what happened, and it just didn't matter at the end. Like, it made sense to me in the moment when I was watching the movie that she doesn't need to have Jedi parents to be a Jedi. Anakin Skywalker, we don't know if he ever had a father, but Shmi, his mom, basically just magically pregnant, had him. There was no father. She raised him, and he became the most powerful Jedi ever, or at the time. I won't say ever, because I know the Old Republic and everything, super strong Jedis. But if we're just going off of the original trilogy, the prequels, and this new trilogy, then he was the strongest Jedi ever. He didn't have Jedi parents. So it makes sense that she doesn't need Jedi parents to have this strength that she does. But saying that, there is no way she should have memories of the Jedi Island, and she said she's seen the books in a dream. She's seen that place in a dream where Luke Skywalker was. There's no reason for Luke Skywalker's lightsaber to call to her. There's no reason for that. If her parents are just nobodies, there's no reason for her to have all those connections to the Skywalker family. It makes no sense. I don't understand it. I don't like it. And the only way they could fix that is if in the next movie, Luke Skywalker can come back as the Force ghost, and he can be like, no, Rey, I was your father. I had to give you up to those people. They gave you away. I didn't know the type of people they were. I was unfit to like raise you, blah, blah, blah. And then you find out that's how she's connected to Luke Skywalker. Other than that, there is no reason she should have that connection to his lightsaber, have those types of memories of certain places. It just, to me, it just doesn't fit. I don't care if her parents are nobodies. You just have to explain to me why Luke's lightsaber calls to her. It makes no sense other than she's related to the Skywalkers. And that's what I need to know. I need that answered. Other than that, J.J. Abrams, I believe you're coming back to direct the next movie. Please make a fitting end to this trilogy that answers questions. If it has to be 3 hours, it has to be 3 hours. People are still going to go see it. Other than that, let's go to the good shit. One good thing about this movie, The Last Jedi, was 2.5 hours long. Maybe even a little more than that, like 2:33 or something like that. The movie did not feel like that. There was something happening every 2 minutes. The story progressed very well. You went from action scene to wondering what's happening, trying to figure stuff out. The only part that seemed a little long was the ending. Them trying to escape from their ship on those pods that were getting blown up at the time to land on that salt planet, to that abandoned rebel base. That took a little long. But other than that, it was so much going on. I was truly immersed. And it was really nice. It was really satisfying. I will commend them on taking chances. There were a couple of the things I had in my cons list that I did not really care for, but also, like I said, I commend them for taking those chances, not sticking to what we know and trying to introduce new things. The whole thing with like Leia flying through space, didn't care for it, but thank you for trying something new and not just sticking with the same formula of recycling what we already know and handing it back to us. So thank you guys for that. One of my favorite parts of the movie were when they were on the salt planet. When you step on it, it turns red. When the ships that the rebels had dragged on the salt, all that red dust, the red clouds are flying up. Whenever they shot the ground, red clouds fly up. I thought that was badass. That contrast between the white and the red was so good. It just made for a really awesome battle scene. One thing that very much caught me off guard, that made my heart happy, made my heart very happy, was a special appearance by Yoda himself, looking amazing, by the way. I didn't expect that at all. So kudos on that. Thank you for not showing that in a preview, a trailer. That's one thing Star Wars has always done great, is in the trailers, they don't give anything away. So I really thank you guys for making that a special moment for us who fell in love with the original trilogy and have watched every single Star Wars movie since. That it was one of the best parts of the movie. And him hitting Luke and acting like they were on the planet is escaping my head. Maybe I'll put the clip in here, but if you know what the planet's called, I can't. Dagobah. In the Dagobah system. If I'm wrong, put it in the comment section, but I don't think I am. Him hitting Luke with his cane and everything like that, it was perfect. Kudos to that. Thank you for that. And I said it before, my favorite character in The Last Jedi was Finn. You guys did such a great job with Finn. He was one of the most refreshing parts of the movie, because this time he, like I said, he wasn't scared. He was the hero that we needed in this movie. At least he was trying to be, without trying to be. He wasn't like Poe, who was trying to save everything, and basically, like Leia said, he's basically trying to blow shit up, and he thinks that's what makes a hero. Finn was risking his life to save Rey's, basically, throughout the whole movie. Even though he wasn't even with Rey at all in the movie, everything he did was for her, and to me, that's a true hero. Just the whole thing with Rose, their interactions were really good ever since she found him trying to escape, even though he was actually leaving for Rey. It was still a heroic action. Finn's character in this was probably, to me, the best put together. And saying that, I will have to say, of course, there were a lot more cons than good things in this movie. Once I watch it again, maybe I'll do another review. It'll be completely different. Who knows? But I will say this movie was not bad. It was not amazing. Was it worth waiting for 2 years? Of course. I will wait forever for Star Wars. But to me, this was just a better than average movie. See what I did there? I would have to give this movie a solid 3.5 out of 5. Better than average. If you haven't seen the movie yet, why did you watch this review? Nothing but spoilers. I warned you in the beginning. Take your ass to the movies. Go watch Star Wars The Last Jedi. It's worth the wait.